She thought she could lie to me, that I'd never find out. But I didn't just catch her cheating. Oh no, I crushed her little fantasy, torched her lover's life to the ground, and walked away without a scratch. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you gave your whole heart to, this story is going to hit deep. Because what happens when the person you love most lies right to your face, again and again? What do you do when you realize it's not just a fling, it's a pattern? Hit that like button if you believe in karma, subscribe for more chilling real-life revenge, and strap in, because this ride is wild. I wish I could say there was some big dramatic clue that revealed the truth. But in reality, it started with something small. Something only a husband who was paying attention would notice. Our kids, just 4 and 6 years old, started talking about going to Grandma and Grandpa's house. A lot. That wouldn't have been so strange, except my wife's parents lived an hour and a half away. And they were apparently watching our kids 2 to 3 times a week. Every week. I remember the exact night I sat on the couch, looking at my wife as she folded laundry. I asked her, calmly, "Hey, the kids say they're at your parents' place a lot lately, is that true?" She didn't even look up. No. They're just confused. You know how kids are. But the thing is, I didn't know how kids are. And I also knew how she was when she was lying. She never met my eyes. She flinched just a little too long before answering. Her tone was flat, her hands moved faster, as if she could fold her guilt away in those t-shirts. I didn't confront her again. I just waited. I started logging the mileage on her car every night. And wouldn't you know it, an extra 400 miles a week. She wasn't just running errands. I was sick. My stomach churned every time she walked through the door, smiling like nothing was wrong. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. But I needed proof. Real proof. Then one day, she made a mistake. A sticky note. Sitting right next to the computer. Scrawled on it, her AOL password. It was like it was daring me to know the truth. So I logged in. And there it was, email after email between her and her old college best friend. And in them? She wasn't even hiding it. She bragged about sleeping with an ex-boyfriend from high school. Gloated about how his wife had gotten fat after having kids. Mocked her like she was trash. The worst part? The tone. Like they were swapping makeup tips. Not talking about ripping apart 2 families. I printed every single email. Stashed them in a folder. Labeled it, truth. But I wasn't done. I needed more. I needed to know who this guy was. So I made a call. A friend of mine, a cop, hooked me up with a former officer turned private investigator. Let's call him Ron. I paid the retainer. Gave him the emails. Told him everything I suspected. And Ron? He delivered. He tracked her. Documented every sleazy rendezvous. She'd drop the kids at her parents', exactly as I'd feared, then meet this loser for lunch, then head straight to a motel. Single. He gave me photos. Dates. Locations. She wasn't even discreet. Just careless. Like we were all stupid. And I was done playing stupid. You see, my parents cheated on each other. The fallout? It shattered our family. My siblings. We were collateral damage in a war we never asked to fight in. I promised myself I would never let that happen to my kids. So I called my lawyer. We drew up the divorce papers. But I wasn't done. Because I wanted to know everything about this guy, her ex, she was screwing like we didn't exist. Ron found him. His name was Bob. He had a wife. 3 kids. He was a vice president of sales at a company owned by his father-in-law. The image this man had painted of himself, family man, professional, respected, was about to burn. I had Ron print 2 extra copies of his investigation report. And I gave him one final job. It was the perfect day. My wife served with divorce papers at her workplace, in front of coworkers, the office manager, and whoever else happened to be in the break room. Her little fantasy life? Cracked in one devastating second. But that wasn't even the best part. Because while she was getting served, Ron was sitting in the living room of Bob's wife. Showing her everything. Photos. Dates. Emails. Tells. You could almost hear the echoes of her heartbreak from 90 miles away. I didn't tell her what to do. But I knew what she'd do. And oh, did she deliver? Bob's wife? She wasn't some helpless victim. She was a wrecking ball. She cleaned out their joint accounts, took the kids, and walked out. The moment her father, the owner of Bob's company, found out, Bob was fired. And since the house they lived in was also owned by her parents, evicted. Just like that, he lost his family, his job, his house, his reputation. He didn't even get the dignity of closure. But it didn't end there. Their divorce? Public. Explosive. Bob tried to argue with his wife one day at the house. Her brother stepped in. Bob ended up with a broken nose. Police were called. Restraining orders were filed. Criminal charges. Jail time. He spiraled. The last I heard? Bob left the state. Fell off the map. No LinkedIn. No Facebook. Nothing. A man erased by his own ego. As for his ex-wife, she took over her dad's company after he retired. Ran it like a boss. As for me, I never screamed at my ex. Never threatened. Never even cursed her out. We co-parented until the kids were old enough. But I don't speak to her at all. And I don't hate her. But I don't care about her either. She's just the mother of my kids. That's all. And every time I look at them and know they never had to live through the hell I did growing up, I sleep just fine. Bob thought he was invincible, an untouchable man juggling 2 women, 2 lives, and 0 consequences. But in one afternoon, I handed his whole world a ticking time bomb and watched it all detonate. His job, his marriage, his home, and I did it without raising my voice, without breaking a single law. Just cold, calculated, clean revenge. And it felt damn good. Revenge isn't always about rage. Sometimes it's about clarity. About choosing to protect the people you love and letting the guilty destroy themselves. I didn't burn his life down. I just showed his wife where the matches were. If that story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my shoes? And don't forget to subscribe if you love stories where karma finally catches up to those who think they're above the consequences. This isn't just revenge. This is justice served cold.